Hey, Mehdi, good to see you.
Thank you.
Congrats on the recent funding.
Thank you.
Can you share the news and tell us about what you're building?
Thank you so much. My name is Mehdi Jamei. I'm the CEO and founder of Veris. Veris is enabling enterprises to become fully autonomous. We are doing that by building a platform where you can train AI agents that are very task specific and for enterprises end to end. The way that we do that is by simulating the real world environment that these agents are supposed to be working in and giving it feedback and giving it interactions so that we allow them to learn by doing and experimenting and playing in this playground that is completely sandboxed and sealed from any side effects so that they can interact with the simulated environment and get signals, and we allow them to learn from those signals.
So tell us a little bit about where the idea for Veris came from.
Yeah, me and my co-founder, Andy, we have been working in agentic systems for a while. We've been building different applications, agentic applications in different startups, big companies like Google. And what we realized and what we saw throughout that process was that the sort of stack that we have to build these and iterate over them and sort of train them and improve them is not sufficient, is not really built for agents. And both of us have academic background, the way that we understand and the way that we were taught how agents are supposed to work is a learning system that can explore and exploit from environment and learn by doing. And that's how self-driving car works now. We got to this point of actual full autonomy. That's how robotic works. We wanted to bring those ideas to agentic systems, truly allow them to learn from experience instead of us fine-tuning and changing their prompts for every scenario, which is what most of the industry is still doing. So we want to move the industry to the next phase of actually training these agents in a proper way so that we can really unlock the full autonomy and the full potential of these agents.
Got it. So in other words, you're putting these agents into an environment that's like the real world.
Yes, exactly. The ideal way for agents to learn is to truly put them in the real world and let them run and give them feedback from the environment to learn. But obviously the problem is that you can't really put these in real world because the harm can be catastrophic and the failures could be prohibitive. So the next best thing is to build high-fidelity simulation environment that mimics the real world and give the agent feedback so that it can train and get better. But ultimately, it's also important that we always keep the simulation environment close to the end real-world environment by having a feedback loop from real world to the simulation. So that's how we built Veris end-to-end. So it's a simulation environment that mimics your production, but always is as close to the real world as possible.
So what I'm imagining is that you built the matrix and you just let these agents loose in the matrix.
Exactly. That's a very great analogy. Yeah, we should use that more often.
It's an analogy, though. What
Yes.
is it really like? It's not really like
Yes.
the whole built world. Right?
So yes, another observation that we had was most of the agents that are working, that are very interesting in enterprise applications specifically, use a series of tools that are not that different from one enterprise to another. What's different is obviously the logic behind it and the specific metrics that each enterprise is interested in. But for the most part, these agents are interacting with the same set of tools. So what we are doing, basically building this library of simulated tools that we can then plug in together and build an environment that is very similar to your production environment. And we allow the agent, instead of calling its own tools or talking to a real user, it is interacting with our simulated tools and our simulated users and get those interactions, basically. Once we have these interactions for a run based on the scenario that we define, based on the user persona that we are interested in, we have hundreds and thousands of these trajectories of decisions that the agent makes. So now we have this data that we can use to train the agent to get better every time. So it's an iterative process that you can improve the agent's performance over time by this kind of interaction with the simulation environment.
Can you share some examples of the kinds of agents that you're able to train?
Yes, for example, one of the agents that we trained for this manufacturing company is a sourcing agent that goes on internet, looks for suppliers of a specific product that this customer wants to buy. Right now, it takes hours for them to go and find all the suppliers of a specific material that they want. And then most of these are small shops in Southeast Asia that they have to now go back and forth and email them one by one to get code and get all the required documentation. And that takes a lot of time and costs a lot of money. So the agent that we trained not only goes and search and finds all these suppliers, but also automatically interact with those suppliers to get the required codes, and then at the end would review them and provide detailed feedback about them and recommendations. So this is an agent that not only has to access the web, Google search, for example, but also has access to an email and would email on behalf of a large company, so it's pretty sensitive, but also has access to Slack to ask like one-off questions from the purchaser and other tools. So for this specific agent, we built a simulation environment that has all those tools, and we define the different types of scenarios that it may have to deal with in real world, and then from there we start basically improving the agent to become better in terms of the tone that it's using, in terms of the question that it has to answer, in terms of the quality of search that it has to do on the web, and all those sort of components that the main customer, the manufacturer, actually is interested in.
You've raised $8.5 million. What are you going to do with it? What's next?
We are hiring. We are hiring a team of great researchers and engineers here in New York. If you are one of them, please go to Veris AI and apply there. And also, we are spending a lot of that on compute. These models have to be trained. We need a lot of GPU and basic compute power.
Yeah. And then when's the next time we're going to hear from you?
Very soon. We're going to have more and more open source versions of or components of the product that we are building. We're going to be contributing back to the ecosystem the same way that we are benefiting from it. So we're going to hear from us very soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Mehdi.
Thank you.